As we stated earlier, 2 a.m. yesterday morning, so this would have been Sunday night. No, Sunday night. Sorry, our days are blending in together for all of us. 1200 block of Portland Avenue, as I stated before, officers and the Rochester Fire Department responded for a structure fire. 5-year-old Malachi Stowell was rescued from the fire by the Rochester Fire Department and is currently still in life-threatening condition in Strong Hospital. 2 firefighters were also injured during this effort. Major Crimes and the Arson Task Force, which is comprised of the Rochester Police Department, the Rochester Fire Department, and the ATF, have been investigating this incident. The investigation has found that the fire was intentionally set. As a result, the ATF is offering a $5,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the individuals responsible for setting the fire. I would like to thank ATF for their continued partnership in fighting crime here in the city of Rochester. And I need to ask the community, as I did yesterday, for support in holding these offenders accountable for seriously injuring such a small, innocent child. Certainly no one deserves to suffer like this, but especially a 5-year-old child who was home in his bed when his house was set on fire. It's on all of us together to bring these people to justice. In a moment, I'm going to have Captain Frank Umbrino speak about the investigation, but first, I'd like to introduce Sean Krumholtz from the ATF.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to start off by saying our hearts go out to Malachi and his family and friends at this time. We'd also like to recognize the fact that the firefighters were injured here as well, and we support them. This was a senseless tragedy, and the future of this 5-year-old boy and his family is forever going to be affected. ATF has a long-standing relationship with the RPD and the community, and this is no exception. We have dedicated our fire and arson experts to this, and we are also happy to contribute this reward to the investigation. We want to follow the facts in this investigation and where they lead us, and to do so, we need the help of the public. So please, if you have any information related to this arson, call Crime Stoppers. Thank you very much.
So on July 29th, at about 2 o'clock in the morning, the Rochester Fire Department responded to 1290 Portland Avenue for the reported structure fire. The fire department arrived. They found the duplex engulfed in flames. They received information on the scene that there was at least one child trapped inside upstairs. Rochester firefighters entered the burning structure and found 5-year-old Malachi unconscious in his second-floor bedroom. He was taken out of the house by firefighters through a second-story window in his bedroom. He was rushed to URMC, where he still is today, fighting for his life. Investigators from the Arson Task Force, which consists of the RPD Major Crimes, RFD, and ATF, were quickly able to determine that the fire was in fact intentionally set from the outside of the residence at the point of entrance. The investigators believe the fire was set by more than one person. The suspects may consist of males and or females. Malachi lives at 1290 Portland Avenue with his parents. On the evening of the fire, the parents were out of town, and there was a 19-year-old babysitter that was spending the night to watch him. The fire, it spread so quickly that the babysitter was physically unable to make it up to, even attempt to make it up to the second floor to get the child out. She was treated at the hospital for smoke inhalation and has since been released. The adjoining apartment at 1290 Portland Avenue was occupied by 7 people that ranged in age from 3 to 49 years old. They were all able to self-evacuate, and they did not sustain any injuries. The structure was, in fact, completely destroyed by the fire. The Red Cross was there that night, and they continue to assist in finding housing for the affected families. While battling the fire, 2 Rochester firefighters sustained injuries attempting to save the child. One suffered back and rib injuries from a fall, and the other suffered burns to his upper body. Both have been treated and released and are still recovering. As far as the investigation goes, it's still too early to even discuss motive in this case. You know, quite frankly, the motive is irrelevant. You have 2 injured firefighters, and you have a 5-year-old fighting for his life. There's people right now in the community who know exactly what happened, why it happened, and who did it. We'd like those people to close their eyes for a minute and just imagine that the 5-year-old right now in the hospital on a ventilator with burns over 75% of their body is fighting for their life. Imagine if that was their son, their daughter, their niece, or their nephew. We're talking about an innocent 5-year-old child right now whose life has drastically changed forever, assuming that he even gets to see the age of 6. We're asking anybody that lives in the area of the 1200 block of Portland Avenue, please check your video cameras. If you see anything on the night that this happened, which was Sunday night into Monday, around 2 o'clock in the morning, please call us. If anybody has any information at all, please call the investigators so we can get closure in this case. And with that, we will take a few questions. Yeah, there's no connection whatsoever, as far as the investigation has told us up to this point.
Can you go into detail on what led to that confirmation that this was arson?
I cannot get into specifics, but what I can tell you is that the investigators that were on the scene, quickly obtained evidence that clearly indicated that this was intentionally set at the point of entrance into the dwelling, which made it extremely difficult for rescue efforts for the child.
I have a question for fire department. I'm hearing there was some effort to secure a second line of water right off the bat with a fire hydrant. I was told this would hinder the rescue, but did it pose a great challenge?
It's Rochester Fire Department's policy to always obtain a second water supply as standard practice. There was a problem with the fire hydrant. We already had established a second water supply. In most cases, we actually established secondary and tertiary water supplies in the event that there's an issue with the primary attack line. That did not hinder our firefighting operations at all in any way, shape, fashion, or form.
How are the two recovering at home? How are they doing?
At present, as you said, they are recovering at home, and hopefully they'll make a speedy recovery.
Can you speak to just how tough it is to see your members suffer and they're sacrificing their life on the line? It's very powerful to hear that this happens.
That's a great question, and it's hard not to get emotional. As fire chief, I have 510 family members. When they swore their oath as recruit firefighters to lay their life down and to protect people and property to an inherently dangerous job, regardless if it's firefighting, rescue operations, emergency medical, it's very difficult to see 2 of my firefighters injured, and we wish them well. We support them. We'll do everything we can to get them back to health. But it's difficult. It's difficult for me as the fire chief, and it's extremely difficult for their partners on their respective engine and truck companies. Thank you.
Can you just expand on the suspects? Any descriptions and leads, anything maybe to help the public any direction?
Yeah, I really can't. What I can say is that there was definitely multiple suspects, more than one, and they might be men, they might be women. But beyond that, as far as anything more specific on them, I'm not in a position to release any of that right now. People talk. If you see something, please say something. If you hear something, please call us and tell us. There's no doubt in my mind there's other people out there that know what happened and who did it.
Have you gotten any leads yet so far? Like any
The investigators have been working, all night, all day. We do have leads that we are pursuing, but we're certainly going to need, help from people that have some knowledge on this to reach out to us.
Are you able to elaborate at all on how this fire was set or spread?
Yep, I'm not going to talk about any type of accelerants that were used at this point, just we can't jeopardize the investigation. What I can tell you is that, you know, the fire spread, you know, almost immediately, the entire building was engulfed. It was very rapid.
Do these suspects seem like they're criminally experienced, or sometimes we see things happen and it sounds like the suspect is sophisticated in knowing what they're doing?
Can't say at this point in time. It's just the level, for somebody to do something like this, to set a house on fire so people can't get out, is just, it's abhorrent, and it's, you know, not going to talk about what type of person it takes to do that. Good? Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.